Hello and welcome. Happy May 1st, happy May Day. My name is Stephanie Dawn and I'm the chair of the Million Mom Movement Council. And I'm so grateful to be here with you today. And I'm joined by my fellow council members, Naiva Flory in Kauai, Taz Ferreira in Canada. And then who else is here? I'm not seeing any of my other peeps. Pop in, council, if I'm not seeing you. But I'm really grateful that we're all here today. So we are the Million Mom Movement. We meaning me and the names I just mentioned, and you. You who is here today. You who is fed up with being sold toxic food. That is what we are here to say heck no to. So, and then, you know, our official tagline is that we're looking for 1,000 women, men, concerned citizens in over 100 communities to reach out to 10 families to help them turn their pantries clean, green, and non-GMO. And I don't know about you, but I've been on this journey now for 30 years. I've been an environmental activist, social justice activist, and organic living freak for a very, very, very long time. I used to live on an organic farm. And I've done the best that I could all these years, but it's getting harder and harder to do that as the USDA has determined that it's okay to have safe amounts of glyphosate in organically certified food. So that's very disturbing to me, very upsetting to me. For those who have worked so hard on USDA organic standards, including the founders of the company that so many of us are affiliated with, Purium Health Products. And so I don't know if you knew that about Dave and Amy, but yeah, they were formidable in getting organic standards long, long time ago, 3 decades ago. So we're here today with Fierce Friday because, you know, I love the company that we are connected to here, Purium. I absolutely stand by the purity of what we share on a daily basis with all the time. And yet in the world beyond Purium, we have to mitigate toxins on our food on a regular basis. And that actually hit home for me as a young mother many years back. So my boy Zephyr, who's 13 now, he loved Cheerios and he ate them every single day. And I tried to give him the Organicos, I really did. And if you're a parent, you'll understand how difficult that is sometimes to get the food that you want into the mouths of your kids. So I was giving him Cheerios because he loved them. And then I read an article one day on Facebook, as so much information is spread these days, about glyphosate that was found to be the highest parts per billion were found on Cheerios. And I was incredibly alarmed and very upset and really sad because I knew I had to remove Cheerios from my son's diet, and that the Cheerios had been causing his compromised gut and immune system for, you know, from the time that he could eat food, really. He was enjoying Cheerios for about 7 years. So we removed the Cheerios from our pantry, and that seemingly worked until it didn't. And he got really, really sick again. And I knew that something was really wrong, and I knew that it was his diet. And so when I looked a bit deeper, I saw that I had been giving him non-organic wheat bagels from Trader Joe's. And what I then learned was that glyphosate is sprayed all over wheat as well in the United States. So then I took out the bagels from his diet. I took out anything else that would exacerbate his gut. And I gave him our product that just came out 2 years ago. It was brand new when I gave it to him. So I didn't know if it was going to work. I was pretty skeptical actually of Biomedic when it first came out because I thought the claims were great. And long story short, within a week of giving him the Biomedic and never giving him non-organic wheat again, my boy has been well ever since. So when I decided to create Fierce Fridays, it was because so many moms and dads and caregivers and babysitters are feeding Cheerios and other products, which I'll share in a moment, to their children unknowingly, just like I did. And I thought, I've got to do something. I've got to do something here. I've got to open my mouth and I've got to share about what I know. So that's how Fierce Fridays began several months ago. And we started with just like 7 or 8 people. So we're growing. We're growing, and I am committed to making us 1 million strong. That's my commitment, and I hope you'll join me in that commitment. So what are we doing about that? We have been doing a letter writing campaign for the last several months to General Mills, who are the makers of Cheerios. And if you're just joining us here for the first time, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your email in the chat box right below on your Zoom screen. Here is a chat box. Click on the chat box, put your email in there, and Rachel Quayle, our operations manager, will grab your email, and she's going to send you the templated letter that I created that has my story in it. It also has the PDF in it that states all the products and the amounts of glyphosate on them that I'll share with you in a moment here that I have. That PDF is golden. You really want to print that out and read it and share it with all your mom and dad friends, because it's so alarming what's going on in the US food world. And I wasn't, we don't know what we don't know until we do. And so reading this list, which I'll hold up in a moment here, is just, it's outrage. It's outrageous. So I want you to take this template letter that you're going to get emailed by Rachel and snail mail it, email it, start to hit up General Mills on Instagram and Facebook. And, they've got some people, Naiva knows, Naiva and Jody, I tagged them recently because I had some horrible person just going off on me on the Instagram account this past week. And I was like, hey guys, I need some backup over here. So I don't know if these are paid trolls by General Mills, but doing whatever they can to, in a very nasty way, discount me and to discount the Million Mom movement. And I want us to come back in full force as the movement that we are, to speak what we know about what's going on and the cancerous, detrimental effects of glyphosate on our food. We need to wake up the masses, you guys. And so that is my interest here. And then, of course, for those of us that are brand partners, we can then speak to the biomedic. So before I talk any more about biomedic, I just want to let you know about what is this PDF I'm talking about. And for those of you who've been with me for the last few weeks, you know about this already. But for those of you who are brand new, this PDF is called Glyphosate Unsafe on Any Plate. And it's a 30-page report that was done by the detoxproject.org and Food Democracy Now! And it's a massive wake-up call for our humanity. It is a massive wake-up call. I thank God every day that those two organizations created this. But the fellow that, that was, flaming me on Instagram the other day wanted me to believe that I was just making it all up, so it's called gaslighting. They make you, they refer to you as though you don't know what you're talking about. And of course we do know what we're talking about, and we all need to be concerned. And so they have a list in here of foods that have high parts per billion that we enjoy every day. Unless you're unless you're an absolute organic freak, these will cross your path, right? So Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios, Wheaties, Trix, Annie's, these are brands. Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Kellogg's Raisin Bran, Kashi, Organic Promise, Cheez-Its, Kashi again, Ritz Crackers, Triscuits, Oreos, Stacy's Pita Chips, Lay's, Doritos, Fritos, Goldfish. Know any children that like goldfish? Yeah, so do I. And then we even have 365 Whole Foods' organic brand that has their organic golden round crackers listed here with 119 parts per billion. So you're going to get that in an email from Rachel. You're going to get the templated letter to send to General Mills with the address. And I want you all to print out that PDF, because I want you to print it out. I want you to read it, and I want you to get mad and take action. So, oh boy, you guys are chatting up a ton in there. Yeah, Annie's crap. Exactly. I know these are brands that we've all been using for years, and we trusted. We trusted. Oh, thank you, Naiva. Okay, so Naiva has added that. There's the call to action immediately, and Rachel will also send you the email. So that's great. Thank you so much. Now, before I say anything more about Biomedic, I want you all to know about this resource as well. The Toxin That Came to Dinner, written by Dave Sandoval, our friend and mentor, visionary, the founder of Purium. So if you haven't read this little baby, you really want to read it. It's a slim volume. You can order it in your back office. And if you don't know if you don't have a back office and you're brand new to the Purium tribe, you want to get with the person that invited you here and ask them what it's all about. Okay. So I'd like to share my screen with you. I'm going to share a video that you will also find in your back office in iLearn, and you can share this to your stories on Instagram, Facebook. You can send it to friends. Okay, you can download it. Here we go.
The active ingredient in Roundup is called glyphosate.
They've found glyphosate in wine, breast milk, urine, and drinking water, eggs, oatmeal, bread.
There was an increasing body of evidence. Levels of glyphosate exposure, given enough time, can result in potentially serious disease.
Glyphosate is the most popular weed killer in the world. Glyphosate may pose heightened cancer risk. Last year, the World Health Organization's Cancer Research Agency classified glyphosate as a probable carcinogen.
Preclinical trials proved 74% reduction in just 6 weeks. Third-party validated as the world's first and only glyphosate solution, receiving the gold seal of approval from the Detox Project. Biomedic.
DM me for details. So I don't know about you all, but I believe that every single one of us needs Biomedic, and that doesn't make me happy to say. I wish we didn't have to mitigate toxins in our foods, but that's just the truth. Every single person in the United States and Canada, and in the EU it's used as well, needs Biomedic. So what is Biomedic? Biomedic is the product that was formulated by Dave Sandoval 2 years ago to remove glyphosate from the body. So glyphosate is a desiccant. It's a drying agent used on wheat, oats, legumes, apples, oranges, nuts, you name it. It's being used out there. And, the powers that be that are spraying this stuff on our food, they don't care. And, they mistakenly believe that it doesn't cause harm to us. Well, what we know now is it does cause harm. And I don't think it's a probable carcinogen. I'm actually quite certain that it's a carcinogen. But that's just little old me over here who's mitigating my own cancer in my own body right now in the form of breast cancer. So what we're dealing with here is massive conglomerations that multinational corporations that are using these toxins on our food, and we have to vote with our dollars, right? We have to vote with our dollars, buy organic, number one. And then what I know is that, I just moved from Southern California up to Washington State. I'm in Bainbridge Island right now. And in LA a couple of years ago, when Biomedic first came out, the University of California, San Diego, put out a 26-year study that they'd been doing where they saw a 500% increase in glyphosate in Southern Californians. 500% over 26 years. That was just so alarming for me. Okay, so glyphosate is used to dry the crops, to speed them to get to harvest so that they can be milled, right? And what does it do to the plant? It kills the immune system. And guess what, you guys? That's what it does to our immune system when we eat the Cheerios and the bagels. Kills the villi and the microvilli and the healthy bacteria, causes the lining of the gut wall to open, and then we have proteins and all kinds of things getting into the bloodstream that should not be getting into the bloodstream. So it's very, very serious. So the biomedic heals the gut lining and the villi, restores the microbiome, removes glyphosate from the body, and, you know, causes all kinds of miracles that I've heard from my friends, from my family, and from my customers. So I'd love to hear from some of you that are, you know, potentially mitigating this in your own life or body, even with your own children, conversations that you're having in your community about this. I'd love to hear your voices. Please just come off mute and share. And thank you for being here today.
Hey, Stephanie, Rebecca Johns, can you hear me?
Hi, Rebecca and fellow council member. I'm so glad you're here. Hello.
Thank you, thank you. I'm in transit, so I'm not on camera, so I'm not distracted looking at myself. But I want to say on the biomedic subject and glyphosate that as a mom with 2 boys who've dealt with eczema, biomedic has been a huge lifesaver for us. And some of you who've heard my story have heard that before, but what I want to say is kind of a point of confession is that there was a point recently just after businesses were impacted and I had to close my practice and money was a little tight. Biomedic was one of the things that and again, I'm confessing, y'all can doodle with me later. Biomedic was one of the things that I didn't order because we've got the Power Shake and we've got the Kids Epigenius and we've got other things that I have in our daily lives, and I was kind of managing my money, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna skip a month and I'll get it, when my money's right next month. And I got to tell you, I will never do that again. Biomedic is not just a physical health refiner, because biomedic is rehabilitating the gut, and the gut is where more than 60, 70, 80% of our mood hormones and our brain stimulating hormones reside and are created. I noticed that along with some physical symptoms, we were kind of sluggish around here. And what I will call mental fog, what I will call, I don't know that I want to go so far as to say lethargy, but it definitely was something that was evident for me, that especially my son who's on spectrum, I could see.
You muted yourself, Rebecca.
Oh, sorry about that. Where did I lose you?
Your son, you were saying your son?
Yeah, I was noticing that my son who's on spectrum was having restlessness with sleep and just mood in general. And so, I've used biomedic for a really long time. If it weren't for a little bit of a bump in the road financially with COVID-19, I wouldn't have even thought of having to take something out of my purchase for the month. Mm-hmm. That is one that has made such a line in the sand for itself, for us recently, for the impact that it makes beyond just what's physical. And it's like, as though that's not enough. I mean, biomedic has helped me with significant weight loss and reversing diabetes, and helped my sons with eczema, and it's done a lot for us physically. But I think that sometimes we don't necessarily also give credit for what it does, rehabilitating that gut, and how that the implications of that on our mood and our mindset and our mental clarity.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your testimonial. It's really great to hear your voice. Thank you for being here, Rebecca. And
Thanks, love.
Yeah, thanks for the work you're doing with our council as well.
For sure.
All right. Who else would like to share? I'd love to hear
Hi,
from you.
my name's Alexa, and I have celiac disease, or was diagnosed with celiac a couple years ago. And I started Biomedic taking regularly about a month ago. And I was curious about the dosage. If someone with celiac and has a lot of microvilli damage, do you recommend 2 a day or 4 a day? I'm just kind of curious if you.
Great question, and thank you for being here. So my understanding is that Dave Sandoval recommends 2 a day uh, for the first 2 weeks, and then 1 a day as a maintenance dose. But really, we want to be tuning into how it's making us feel and listening to our own body, in all honesty. So, try 2 a day and see how you feel, and just pay attention to, to your gut and your digestion.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely been feeling better taking it. I notice whatever meal I take it with, my digestion's a lot calmer. Like I have less inflammation. So I'm really excited and grateful I tried it, even though I was really hesitant about the wheat germ. I haven't had any issue. I know some people were asking in the chat about gluten sensitivity, and I'm so reactive and have eczema and all, just really reactive to gluten, and I have not had any reaction to Biomedic. So I just want to let people know my testimony in case they're curious.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, a dear friend of mine, Stephanie Hart, sometimes she joins us here. She thought she was celiac, and she did Purium's 40-day transformation a year or so ago. And she, I thought she would have issues with everything, and she had issues with none of it. And actually what she found was that she was glyphosate intolerant, not gluten intolerant, and she didn't have celiac after all. So, there are diagnoses floating around out there that aren't accurate for us. And I think that when we get the toxins out of our food in general, we just all become that much more healthier. So
yeah. I definitely think that's what's playing a role with my health. I was poisoned by pesticides when I was a baby, and think that what caused the damage, instead of it being like a genetic autoimmune condition that, like celiac, that there's no cure for it. So I'm really optimistic and hopeful. So I just want to thank you for sharing, and I'm sharing all this with my friends and family. So I appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm getting a message from Zoom saying that this meeting is ending in 5 minutes. And I'm not quite sure why, because this is Purium Corporates, and it says I need to upgrade, but it looks like they might be cutting us off. Now, ideally, this is a 30-minute meeting that we meet every Friday here for 30 minutes, and then we sometimes go over. So if I go away, that's why, because Zoom is giving me this message, and I don't know what the problem is, because this is Purium's pro account. So anyways, I'd love to hear some more of you. We have at least 5 more minutes here, so.
I actually have a question.
Please.
My name is Sarah, and so I was curious if you or anybody on the call has experience with just implementing the either Epigenius or the Biomedic into their kids' regimen without changing any diet at all. If anybody has any personal experience with that, because I run into some pushback in a sense that it's kind of hard to change the overall diet of the entire household, and so I just kind of want to be able to confidently say, like, there has been, like, if you just implement the Epigenius shake or the Biomedic into your child's regimen, then you will see results.
Yeah, this is a really great question. And I can't answer conclusively. I'd love to hear what others say. And I'd actually love for you, is it Sarah? Is that how
it's Sarah?
Sarah,
yeah.
I'd love for you to ask this question also in our Million Mom Movement official group on Facebook, because I bet we'd get a lot of comments in there, and you'd be educating a lot of people as well. But if anyone would like to address Sarah here, come forth.
I can. Hi, it's Jody. I'm off camera because I didn't make it to the shower before we got on this call. So
I'm with you, Jody.
full-on homeschooling mama today, and we had stuff going on this morning, and the shower and I didn't get to meet. So in the preclinical trial for Biomedic, they did not change the diets of the people at all. And some of them were eating organic, but some of them were not. But across the board, they all had benefits regardless of diet. So I would say based on that, and it was a small trial, but it is solid evidence that yes, just adding that into your child's diet will begin to make the change that you're looking for.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jody. Beautiful. And My Daily Breath has raised their hand. Would you like to speak? My Daily Breath, sorry, I don't know what your name
Yes,
is.
my name is V. Sorry. Yes.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. About a year ago, I was introduced to Premium. Sorry.
Purium.
Purium. Thank you. And I was incapable of purchasing much at that time, but I decided intuitively to purchase the Biomedic. And at that time, I had extreme pain from an injury that I had fallen off a mountain. And I was soaking in Epsom salt, but the water turned out to be toxic because it was a runoff from the golf course and it wasn't filtered. I'm sure it was the glyphosate that you just talked about.
Glyphosate?
And so now I'm on the 30-day cleanse. A year later, I knew that this is but it took away my weight. It took away my pain. That was just a year ago, December, and it was amazing. And now I'm going to have a phone call with someone that's been on quarantine because her children are diabetic, and they're like 5 and 2. And I wanted to know, how would you get the Biomedic into their little bodies? They can't swallow the capsule, even though it's easy for me.
The Biomedic? Yeah, well, you can do the Epigenous.
The Biomedic, yes.
The Epigenous Kid Shake has the Biomedic right in it, but prior to that shake coming out, I would put it in orange juice. I would put it in yogurt, Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay. And you can put it right on their tongue, too. It tastes like pizza.
I never thought of that. Okay, great.
I don't know why it tastes like pizza, but that's what everyone says. And I can concur because I've tasted it. So.
Is there anything I can't mix it with? So we can be experimental with little, like, I know one likes yogurt, one doesn't. I know they both like pizza, so maybe I just sprinkle on top of the pizza like cheese or something, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, get creative, that's what we parents have to do often with our children. So,
and they're also allergic to gluten.
Oh,
so it was nice to hear everyone else's response to that.
Right. Great. Well, we're at the 11:30 mark, and I'd like to go ahead and honor the fact that we're only here for 30 minutes. So if you haven't put your email in the chat, please do. Again, my name is Stephanie Dawn. I'm the chair of the Million Mom Movement Council. We all work very closely with Amy to further